Signature cell healing is about a modality that goes back way, way back in the histories. Now, I'm going to tell you these things, my friend. We're going to say about 50,000 years ago. Was it called signature cell healing? No, but it was being done in signature cell healing process. Because understand this thing. It's about a full four-bodied healing. Now, this four-bodied healing is not, you don't just walk around this thing. You got to go through this whole process. So if you're going to have a person come to you with cancer or with Alzheimer's or whatever, but understand this thing, lads and lasses. This whole process, as far as I'm concerned, is how to get into this whole project and come down through the spirit, the mental, the emotional, and the physical body. Because understand this, 50,000 years ago, it's exactly what they did. They started with the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. And they knew that anything that came into this body process, which is a form of a disease or anything along those lines, was always come through these other journeys. So basically, almost every single thing, if you've got a hangnail on your big toe, you got to think this thing through, because understand this thing. It came in through the spirit body, and it said, I got to do something that gets your foot moving, and so on and so forth. And then it came into the mental body. It may be a month later, it comes into the mental body, into the omnipresence, into your brain thing right now. And understand this thing. This is so beautiful, because it was started in the spirit, and if you'd have felt it up there, you'd been done with it, but you didn't. You just said, I'm too busy right now. I gotta go walk around the world or whatever. And you just keep walking on this toe. And all of a sudden, your emotional body says, hey, wait a minute. You're not listening to it. You're not listening to me. I want to get this thing healed. So it starts coming to the pressure and applying the pressure into the physical body. And then you wake up one morning, you get this big old thing hanging off your toe. It's a tumor or whatever, And you think, where'd that come from? It wasn't there yesterday. How did I get this thing today? Well, I don't have time for you, but I'll get back to you. I don't think it's a tumor anyway. It's just like a bump on my toe. It's not just a tumor. I'm sure it's not a bump. It's just nothing. I'm going to go out and walk around the world, right? And when you're halfway through the world, halfway through this world, and you hear your toe saying, I got to take you down, buddy. You got to lay down. And you step out of the bed, and, I can't stand on it. And there you're flat on your back. Then, you know what you're going to do? You're going to find a healer like my medium, and you say, Kahu, could you do something about me toe down here? Because it started out just a couple years ago, but it seems could progressively light over time. But understand this, I can't stand on the thing right now. I got to use crutches to get in and out of my car. And you know what Kahu's going to say? No problem. Come over here and lay down on the healing table, and we'll take a look at it. And then he starts talking about things like in your spiritual body. And you say, my spiritual body's fine. I have my toe. Got to get my toe fixed up there. He says, all right, that's great. And then he'll work on it a little bit, and he said, the mental body is playing a part of this whole thing, right? And you say, oh my goodness. So what you do is you go home and you see your other doctor, and they take a big old scalpel and they cut it off. Not the whole toe, but just to cut the button off this toe. And you think, I didn't need that medium anyway. And then a couple months later, you got a new toe on the other toe over there. You say, darn. Maybe we should go talk to that Kahu guy, because he was into something, I think, because I don't want to do this thing every day. And you come back in here, and you get to the Kahu, and he says things like, got emotional things that we want to talk to you about. I tell you what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the physical toe. I want to talk about the emotion that caused this whole project, and the mental that you've let it go, and the spirit is just beyond this whole project. So when I tell you things that, I'm telling you this because it's important to hear. You got to be aware of it, lads, because in this case right here, you got to understand this is a four-body healing. It's called signature cell healing. It was never called signature cell healing in Lemuria. They didn't even have a word for signature. But understand this, that's the exact same thing. I know it because I watched it take place. Now, 50,000 years is a long time ago, right? You got other thing. I'm going to drop one right on you right here. You got right now pyramids that are measured by 4 to 6,000 years old in a place called Egypt. You know them, right? Well, you know what you don't know is down in South America. South America, you got them. They're going to come up here right now, and you're going to start hearing about them right now. They're 40,000 years old. This is 10,000 years after. You do the math, my friends. You got a lot of history you don't know a thing about. You got Japan over here, and understand this, Japan is such a beautiful place. But right off the coast, in this foggy area off the coast, they got steps going down in the ocean, right angled, cut down, down, down. And they don't have a slight idea where they came from. I can tell you where they came from. It's the closing stages of Lemuria. Well, understand this thing, my friend. I'm not here to fight with anybody or try to prove anything. I'm telling you what I'm telling you. This is a 50,000-year-old technique called signature cell healing, and it's going to be about your 4 bodies. And you do these things, you can heal anything and everything. That's the truth. God bless you, and aloha.